If you are good at math, you are good at chess. And if you're good at chess, you are good at math. Your challenge today is to guide a knight to cover every square on the board without revisiting any squares. Here is one example, but there are many more possible paths. If you haven't played chess before, understanding the knight's movement is quite simple. It moves in an L shape, consisting of two squares in one direction, followed by one square perpendicular to the initial direction. I encourage you to try this Knight Tour challenge. There is a link in the description which will take you to a website where you can try to create your own Knight Tour. Once you have had a go, come back to this video to learn the secrets of the famous Knight Tour. The Knight Tour that I've shown here is known as an open tour because the square that the tour ends on cannot be connected to the starting square using one move. A closed tour, on the other hand, occurs when the square that the tour ends on can be connected to the starting square. Here is an example of a closed tour. If you want, have a go creating your own closed tour. It is significantly harder than finding an open tour. Despite the difficulty of finding any Knight Tour, there are over 26 trillion different closed tours that can be created on an 8x8 board. And the number of open tours that can be created is currently unknown due to its incredible magnitude. The ideas for the Knight Tour come from an area of mathematics known as graph theory. Graph theory is the study of graphs, such as the one seen here. Each circle is called a vertex, and each line is known as an edge. In graph theory, a Hamilton path is a path through a graph that goes through every vertex in the graph exactly once. A Hamilton cycle, on the other hand, is a path that goes through every vertex exactly once and whose final vertex can be connected to the starting vertex. As you may have noticed, the open Knight Tour is a Hamilton path, and the closed Knight Tour is a Hamilton cycle. If you did attempt this challenge, then you may have discovered that in order to complete a full Knight Tour, or to get close to completing a Knight Tour, it is helpful to move the knight onto squares that have the least possible available moves. This is known as the Warnsdorf rule, and it becomes especially important when we are deeper into the Knight Tour. It must be noted, however, that following this rule exactly all the time will not mean that you always find a complete Knight Tour. We can also analyze Knight Tours on smaller chessboards, like a 5x5 board. Here's an example of a Knight Tour on a 5x5 board using Warnsdorf's rule. The 5x5 board is the smallest board in which a Knight Tour can be created. You can prove this to yourself by trying to create a Knight Tour on a 4x4, a 3x3, 2x2, or a 1x1 board. It doesn't work. On a 5x5 board, there are 1,728 different Knight Tours that can be created. This number was found using what is known as a brute force algorithm, which is essentially code that recursively explores all possible Knight Tours, starting from each square on the board and counts the total number of tours found. On a 6x6 board, brute force algorithms become ineffective due to the vast number of different possible paths. As a result, combinatorial techniques must be used to reduce the required computing power. Combinatorics is the mathematics of counting and arranging. Combinatorial techniques allow us to count quantities that are much too large to be counted in the conventional way. Some examples of combinatorial techniques include creating Knight Tours on smaller boards and then connecting the Knight Tours on each board to form a larger Knight Tour, using Warnsdorf's rule, and avoiding move combinations that commonly lead to failed Knight Tours. These techniques have allowed us to conclude that there are 6,637,920 different Knight Tours on a 6x6 board. On a 7x7 board, we have currently found 165,575,218,320 different night tours. However, new tours are continually being found. To increase the difficulty further, we can add 4 knights onto our board and see if we can cover every square on the board without repeating any squares. Pause the video and have a go at this one if you want. It may help to break the board down into smaller parts and then solve the problem from there. In order to solve this problem, we can split the board up into 4 sections and create a partial night tour on each board. Each board is a 4x4 board, meaning that the boards are too small to create a full night tour on. However, when we combine our partial night tours, we see that each knight can cover the squares on the 4x4 section next to it. There is so much mathematics to get out of the wonderful night tour, so why not go look for it? If you haven't already, head to the link in the description to find your own night tours. And if you'd like to see more videos about the wonderful mathematics of chess, leave a like and a comment about what you would like to see next. Appreciate you guys. Stay curious.